Imagine standing across the ring from a towering opponent, bigger, stronger, and built like a machine. For most fighters, it's a nightmare. But for Canelo Alvarez, it was just another challenge to conquer. In one of his most unforgettable battles, Canelo faced a giant in both size and muscle, endured the punishment, and still emerged victorious. This is the story of how Canelo proved that size means nothing when heart, skill, and resilience step into the ring. Back in 2019, Canelo Alvarez was about to face one of the most physically imposing fighters of his career, Sergey Kovalev. A former light heavyweight champion, Kovalev was known for his intimidating size, power, and knockout ability. With a reach advantage, a height advantage, and a reputation for taking out top-tier fighters, many believed Canelo was stepping into the ring with a fighter who could easily overpower him. But Canelo wasn't backing down. What was at stake here wasn't just a title. It was proving that heart and strategy could overcome pure strength. And little did anyone know, the fight would unfold in a way no one saw coming. The build-up to Canelo versus Kovalev was nothing short of electric. Canelo, moving up 2 weight classes to face the towering Kovalev, a hard-hitting 6-foot powerhouse, was a move that had everyone talking. Kovalev, known for his ruthless knockout power and dominant reign as light heavyweight champion, was the clear favorite. His reach and size advantage seemed like a near-impossible hurdle for Canelo. But Canelo, despite being smaller and lighter, was no stranger to facing the odds. His methodical approach, deadly counterpunching, and relentless determination had already earned him the title of one of boxing's elite. Still, this was something different. Could he really take down a giant? The night of the fight, the air was thick with excitement and uncertainty. Fans from all over the world packed the arena, eager to see if the Mexican legend could conquer the imposing Russian champion. Would Kovalev's power prove too much for the smaller Canelo? Or could Canelo's sharp precision strikes overcome the size and strength disparity? From the moment the bell rang, all eyes were glued to the ring, waiting for that defining moment. Would Canelo's skill and heart be enough to topple the bigger, stronger man? The tension was unbearable, and the answer was something no one saw coming. In the first round, Kovalev took control with his powerful jab, using his reach advantage to keep Canelo at bay. Canelo, typically the aggressor, was more cautious, staying on the outside and struggling to close the distance. Kovalev remained the busier fighter, landing jabs consistently and dictating the pace. Canelo, looking to find an opening, had little success in the round as Kovalev's defense and reach gave him the clear edge. It was a measured, tactical start to the fight, with Kovalev holding the advantage heading into the second round. In the second round, Canelo started to show more aggression, attempting to close the gap and land some heavy shots. However, Kovalev was still the more active fighter, using his jab to maintain distance and throwing more punches overall. Canelo's attempts to push the pace were met with resistance, as Kovalev's reach and accuracy kept him in control. Despite Canelo's efforts, Kovalev's constant pressure and volume of punches earned him another round. The tension mounted as it became clear that Canelo wasn't finding his rhythm yet. Round 3 played out similarly, with Kovalev dominating through sheer activity. Canelo's hands were not flowing as expected, and he struggled to land clean shots. Kovalev kept up a steady barrage of punches, while Canelo seemed hesitant and unable to find his timing. The round was once again marked by Kovalev's work rate, as Canelo was unable to establish the dominance he's known for. The audience could feel the building frustration for Canelo, as the fight seemed to slip further from his control. In round 4, Canelo started to find his rhythm, landing powerful body shots and showing more aggression. Kovalev maintained his steady pace, but Canelo's increased activity and clean shots gave him the edge in a close round. It was a much-needed shift in momentum for Canelo. In round 5, both fighters picked up the pace. Canelo landed some clean shots to the body and head, closing the distance and becoming more aggressive. Kovalev stuck to his methodical style, but Canelo's pressure was starting to show. However, Kovalev's control and experience kept him in the fight, making it clear Canelo still had work to do. Over the next few rounds, Canelo kept the pressure on, relentlessly closing the distance and forcing Kovalev to fight at a faster pace than he was comfortable with. Kovalev, who had been dictating the action earlier, began to show signs of slowing down, struggling to maintain the same intensity. His punches were coming less frequently, and when he did throw, Many of them either missed or landed on Canelo's gloves. The Mexican fighter, sensing the shift, started to capitalize on his opponent's fatigue, landing more clean, powerful shots, particularly to the body and head. Though Kovalev's experience and size still gave him moments of success, especially in bursts of activity, he was no longer able to tie up Canelo or control the ring like he did in the early rounds. Canelo's power and relentless pursuit were winning him these rounds, making it clear he was getting stronger as the fight wore on. There was a noticeable shift in the momentum, and as Kovalev's punches grew more desperate, Canelo continued to land the cleaner, more effective strikes, putting Kovalev on the defensive. The fight was becoming a battle of attrition, and Canelo was proving to be the fresher, more dangerous fighter. As the fight continued, Canelo began to fade under Kovalev's pressure. The rounds were becoming a grueling test of will, and Canelo, despite his skill and power, seemed to be losing steam. Kovalev, sensing an opportunity, started to ramp up his activity, throwing punches with more frequency and landing cleanly. Canelo, for the first time in the fight, appeared to take a step back, almost as if he was conserving energy or looking for an opening that wasn't there. Kovalev pushed him to the ropes in the final 30 seconds, unloading shots and dominating the space. The crowd was on edge as Canelo, usually the aggressor, seemed unable to find his rhythm. Kovalev was taking control, landing shots that Canelo couldn't seem to answer. For a brief moment, it looked like the tide might be turning in Kovalev's favor, as Canelo's movements grew slower and more cautious. The round was clearly Kovalev's, and the tension in the arena was palpable. Could Canelo dig deep, or had the bigger, stronger Kovalev found the cracks in his opponent's armor? As the fight entered its final stages, the tension was palpable. Kovalev had found his rhythm, upping the pace and landing harder shots. He was no longer content to just box, but was stepping forward with renewed aggression, forcing Canelo onto the back foot. Canelo, usually the one to dictate the pace, was struggling to keep up, his movement more measured and less fluid. Every time Canelo tried to mount an offensive, Kovalev responded with a barrage of punches, making it clear that he wasn't about to back down. With each passing minute, it became harder to predict what would happen next. Canelo, while not as active, was still dangerous. He seemed to be picking his shots, looking for that one opening that could turn the tide in an instant. Meanwhile, Kovalev was relentless, pouring on the pressure and keeping Canelo on the defensive. The rounds were close, but Kovalev's aggression and consistent work rate gave him a slight edge. As the bell for the 10th round rang, both fighters knew they were nearing the end of a fight that could be decided by mere inches. Canelo, more calculated than before, was still in the hunt for a big shot, but Kovalev wasn't letting up. It was the kind of battle where every punch, every movement, could be the difference between victory and defeat. Fans were on the edge of their seats, unsure of who had the upper hand, but knowing that the final moments would decide everything. The drama of the fight was building, and all eyes were now on the final round. Who would seize the moment, and who would falter under the pressure? As the 11th round began, the tension was thick in the air. Both fighters had pushed themselves to the limit, with Kovalev's jab still snapping through the air, keeping Canelo at bay. But Canelo's power punches were starting to land more frequently. Each exchange felt like it could be the one that decided the fight. The crowd was on edge, holding their breath as the action unfolded in the center of the ring. Canelo, known for his patience and precision, started to pick his shots more carefully. He was moving in closer, closing the distance between them, and Kovalev seemed to be struggling to maintain the same pace. It was clear he was beginning to slow down, and his once steady jab wasn't as sharp. Canelo, sensing the vulnerability, pressed forward, moving with more aggression. Then, with a suddenness that shocked everyone, Canelo saw his opening. A left hook, fast, precise, landed clean, immediately followed by a crushing right hand. Kovalev stumbled back, his legs giving way beneath him. The crowd gasped as Kovalev went down to the canvas, unable to recover in time. The referee counted. Canelo stood, his arms raised in victory as the realization set in. He had done it. With that devastating combination, Canelo Alvarez had claimed his third world championship in as many weight classes, and he did it by stopping Sergey Kovalev in the 11th round. A career-defining moment for the Mexican champion, and a devastating defeat for Kovalev, who was stopped for only the third time in his career. Canelo had proved once again that no challenge was too great, no opponent too powerful. And as the referee raised his hand in triumph, the boxing world had a new champion. Canelo Alvarez, three-division world champion. If you want to continue watching more, click this video next where you'll see an even more brutal fight.